Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Rants Show. Today, I want to talk about something profound. I want to talk about defying the majority. Defying the majority. Being the one odd man out in the room. And more specifically, I want to talk about helipads. Now, you might be wondering how the hell these two things are connected. They're very connected, and I'm going to talk about that right now. Okay, so first things first, brief disclosure, helipads are pads on top of buildings that helicopters land on, hence the name helipad. And the reason I'm talking about standing up to the majority is because I'm thinking about the first person who ever pitched the idea that we should land helicopters on top of buildings. So in the 50s or 60s, whenever this was, imagine telling someone, hey, rather than getting picked up in the field or at the airport, why don't they just come to our apartment building? The guy who pitched this idea was probably mocked, probably shamed. But he knew what he was about. He knew what he stood for. He knew that landing a multi-ton metal engine on top of a building was the next step for humanity. And he was right. Helipads are the pinnacle of convenience. I'm sure most of you have been on trips. You know, the worst thing is the traveling. If you're flying, you have to travel to the airport, you have to wait in the airport, you have to sit on the plane, get through the airport again when you land, and then drive to your destination from whatever airport you landed at. It sucks. Road trip, exact same thing. You get in the car and you're just driving for hours and hours and hours. It's not fun. But imagine you could sleep in 10 minutes before your flight. You could sleep in, wake up 10 minutes before your flight, get dressed, brush your teeth quickly, you already have your bags packed, go up to your roof, and there's a helicopter waiting for you up there. This was the vision that John Helipad had. And like I said, he was probably mocked relentlessly because who would ever imagine landing a helicopter on top of a building? That's just completely insane. But he did it. He did it. Now, I have many dreams and many goals in my life, aspirations, if you will. And one of them is to just be able to take a helicopter wherever I want to go. I want to go to the grocery store, go up to the roof, helicopter's waiting there for me, want to go take my dogs to the park. I don't have to walk, I don't have to drive, I can just go up to the roof, there's a helicopter waiting for me 24/7. I just think that's amazing. Just have a helicopter on your roof at all times. Now, ideally, I would be able to get a helicopter put on my ordinary suburban house. I'm not sure about the zoning laws for that, but I think it would be a nice addition. I think it would increase the property value to have a helipad on my roof. Probably have to change some of the structural support to accommodate that, but if I have enough money to afford a helicopter everywhere I go, I can probably afford to renovate my house. So I want to go back to what I originally mentioned at the beginning of this episode. John Helipad was mocked relentlessly He was at a board meeting. He pitched the idea, hey, what if we had helicopters land on roofs? His boss snapped at him. His coworkers laughed at him. His wife divorced him. It was a very rough time in John Helipad's life. But he didn't stop there. He didn't toe the line to the majority. And because he refused to give up on what he believes in, we now have millionaires and billionaires landing on rooftops. And that is what legacy is supposed to be. I'm sure you've heard the saying that you don't truly die until your name is spoken for the last time. And in the case of John Helipad, he will continue to exist on for as long as we have buildings and as long as we have helicopters. And I think that's exactly what he would have wanted. That's exactly what John would have wanted. So I want you to think about that. You, the listener, might have some completely batshit crazy ideas. But if you truly believe in those ideas, even when everyone around you is calling you an idiot, when everyone around you is mocking you and shaming you, and your wife is divorcing you and your boss is firing you, if you know you have a good idea, pursue it. Pursue it. And one day, you may have a legacy of your own. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow.